Okay. Welcome to this week's edition of the Business Owners Mastermind Call. This call happens every single Tuesday at 10:30 a.m. Pacific time. It's been going on for several years, and it's also being broadcast out on the podcast channel. So if you are not subscribed yet, you will want to go out to johnpyron.com, J-O-H-N-P as in Paul, Y-R-O-N.com. Click on the button there called Podcast, and all the instructions on how to get access to the podcast channel and all the past calls is all there. So this is the final call in the series of the top business owner challenges that we've had this year and what we have done to solve those challenges. So we've talked about cash flow, we've talked about retaining customers, talked about several other things, but this week we are going to talk about staying current. So how to stay current and how to let go of processes and procedures that are not working. So my name is John Pyron. I'm your host, and for those of you that have never heard me before or that this is your first time, so over the last 26 years I've built 7 different businesses. Several of them into the millions of dollars, and now I coach and consult business owners all around the world on how to build companies, specifically coaches as well. So, because what I find is most coaches out there know how to be a coach, they just do not know how to build a business. Most business owners get stuck right around that, either below the $100,000 range or just above it. But most never reach it to $1 million. In fact, an interesting statistic is 51% of all small business owners in the United States of America do not make more than $26,000 per year. That is startling. What's another interesting statistic is over 81% of all small business owners in the United States do not make more than $250,000 per year. And that's crazy. That is what Jay-Z calls cray-cray. So what this call is about is to help you solve those problems, help you break through the minutia, help you to break through what is holding you back in achieving your dreams and goals as a business owner. So before I get started, one of the things that I always say is if you resonate with this call, post your comments on the podcast channel or the YouTube channel. If you want to reach out to me for any reason, just go to my website and click on the button called Schedule Appointment. Starting next week, we are going to be changing up the call. So every single week I'm going to be interviewing a different person in business. Next week, we're going to talk about end-of-the-year tax strategies. I'm bringing on my good friend Jo Van Greenleaf. We're going to talk about end-of-the-year tax strategies. That's all she does. She doesn't do anything else other than business tax. So she's phenomenal at business tax strategies, and I'm going to interview her next week. She's going to share some great golden nuggets on how to take the strategies that you need by the end of the year so your tax burden is next to zero. So you want to be there or listening to the recording. If you have a special skill in business or a special talent or a speaker or someone that you know, I'm looking for people to interview on this call going forward. So it's not just going to be me talking anymore. It's going to translate into me interviewing a successful business owner and making it even more valuable for you. Private Facebook group is the 10X Mastermind group on Facebook. If you're not a part of that, you definitely want to go and join that. All right, so let's talk about the next challenge. Number 5 challenge is staying current. How, John, as I build my business and I have all this stuff going on, how can I stay current? I get this question asked all the time. And what I do personally is I subscribe to those business owners that are where I want to be in my own business. That's number one. So I don't subscribe to everybody. I don't digest a boatload of content because a confused mind doesn't do anything. So the key to staying current is to find a handful of people that are in the know, a handful of people that you can follow, a handful of people that you resonate with, that fire you up, that share great content, that share valuable content, that shares content that can be verified and it's truthful and they're reliable. And so for me, it's Grant Cardone is probably the number one person I follow. Okay, just simply because it's always relevant, it's always accurate. I resonate with his message. His business is where I want my business to be, and he is focused on helping business owners just like I am. I follow Rory Vaden. It's another person I follow. I follow John Lee Dumas. Those three people I follow. There's a handful of people that I get my news from, because by the time it makes the TV news, it's old news. So there are certain people that I know that are in the know. One of them is a good buddy of mine, Chuck Hammond, who's the ex-mayor of Fairfield. Another good person is Grant Cardone. And another good person is my good friend Dave Vanny. Those people sift through all kinds of information. They like reading newspapers, and I get the Reader's Digest version of anything I want to know. So what I try to do is keep my mind empty of the stuff that isn't going to help me in my business. Now, how do you stay current in your industry? One of my favorite ways to stay current in my industry is I have made a list of my top 10 competitors. And I subscribe to their stuff on purpose. I want to know what my competition is doing. Because one of the things I've learned a long time ago, and I want you to pay careful attention to what I'm about to say. The reason 81% of all small business owners don't make more than $250,000 a year is because they spend way too much time gathering information versus taking action on the information that they already have. Let me say that again. The reason 81% of all small business owners in the United States don't make more than $250,000 a year is because they spend far too much time gathering information and not taking enough action on the information that they already have. And so knowing that, I know that my competitors are going to spend an enormous amount of time gathering content, gathering information, gathering stuff that's relative, while I'm out taking action on that shit. Okay? So the key is taking action. The key is how do you stay current? You learn something. If you know it's going to benefit your client, you implement it. You visit with your clients. See, I want to stay current on what's going on with my client, not necessarily what's going on in the world. Now, does that mean I live in the bubble? No. But I don't need to hear about ISIS every day. I don't need to hear about all this other stuff that's designed to distract me and keep me from focusing on where I'm going. It's like when 2007, 8, 9, and 10. I had a company that I built to $1 million, and we kept growing 63.9% a year. And the main reason is I stopped listening to talk radio. I did. I stopped paying attention to CNN, Fox News. I stopped digesting all of that crap. And I just laser focused on, okay, what does my customer need? How can I get it to them? And so I flipped it and said, okay, instead of staying current on what the rest of the world is doing, I'm going to stay current on what my client is doing. So I shifted my focus, and here's what I want you to do with your existing clients. I want you to shift your focus and say, okay, how can I stay current with my existing client? Well, one of the primary strategies is to sit down and make a list of your top clients. And let's just say, for example, you have 12 clients. 12 of your favorite clients. So if you take 12 and you divide it by 4, that gives you 3. Last time I checked, that was the math. Now, what I mean by that, 12 divided by 4 weeks is 3 months. So if you just focus on visiting or spending a half hour to an hour once a week with one of your top clients and getting current on them, getting current on, okay, what is your biggest challenge? What are your goals? What is the biggest thing that's frustrating you in your industry? What's important to your industry? What are the factors that affect your industry? What are the outside forces that affect your industry? How did it go over the last 3 months? What are your goals for the next 3 months? How can I help you get there? And you take that relationship deeper and you stay current on your client's business, because if you stay current on your client's business, then you can adjust your business to meet your client's needs. See, if I don't know what my client needs and I don't know what their pains or challenges are, I'm irrelevant. We as business owners, we solve pains and challenges. In fact, the more our client grows and takes action in their business, the more pain and challenges they're going to have, which creates more opportunity for us. So think right now, who are your top 12 clients? Make that list today. Put them in your calendar as a schedule. 1 a week. That means you'll sit down with each one of your clients once a week, once every 3 months, and you'll be able to help them with their business. Okay? And you can run this with as many clients as you want. Okay? But that's one of the ways that I stay current is I spend time, I invest time into my existing clients. Why? Because I want to know what their challenges are. I want to know what their goals are. Because as I'm creating marketing materials, as I'm creating programs, I'm not having to figure out, okay, what does the market want? My own clients are going to tell me what they want. The other thing is you can use Google surveys. So let's just say you're brand new. You're just starting off, and you're like, well, I don't know what the market needs. I don't know what the market's willing to buy. Well, one of the things that you could do is do a Google survey. And you can get very granular with a Google survey. I think 1 or 2 questions is going to cost you like 10 cents a response. And if you want to craft I think it's like a 3 to 10 question survey, it's $1 a response. And so you send this out and you collect the surveys. I'll give you an example. One of my clients, Envia Solutions, out of Folsom, California. They are a cyber security company. Been in business for a long time, excellent company, but they have been only focused on large government and big corporations. And so the owners, they're like, we're tired of traveling, and so we want to come up with some cybersecurity solutions for small to mid-sized companies. Can you help us create that? I said, sure. So went over and hired my good friend Aaron Opfeld, who owns Searcher Magnet. It's one of the top SEO companies around. And I told Aaron, I said, because I helped Aaron design this program, I said, hey, I need you to do a Google survey on the market. And we came up with 5 questions that we put out there. 26 people responded to the survey. And what we found is, okay, the company that would buy the new programs that we're designing, well, first of all, we designed 3 programs. The next thing that we did is we discovered, okay, 2 of the programs the market wants, and they're willing to pay the price point that we were putting out there. The 3rd program, the market did not want it. And so it gave us the information to change it. Here's the point. We got the information that we needed so we can create relevant programs and be able to be current with the marketplace and what they wanted. So we're able to take that information, draft some programs, launch it, and have a tremendous amount of success. So one of the ways to stay current is constantly survey. Constantly survey your prospects, constantly survey your clients, constant. When do you survey? All the time. Okay. Another way is to subscribe to business journals, magazines, and newspapers. Okay? Only industry-specific stuff. See, unless CNN, unless I'm a stockbroker, why the heck would I spend my time watching just the regular news? And that's why I don't do it, because I'm not a stockbroker. I deal with small businesses. I deal with businesses that want to increase revenues, systemize productivity, maximize profits and efficiencies. And so I'm only going to digest the content that supports that mission. See, everybody's different. And it all comes down to, okay, what is your mission and your vision for your company? And that will determine where you subscribe. Now, you got to have, that's great. So let's just say you subscribe to the business journals, industry-specific magazines. There's all kinds of magazines out there. Bloomberg, Consumer Reports, Fast Company, Financial Times, Wall Street Journal, Wired, etc. Okay, there's all kinds of stuff out there. So the key is going to be, what should you subscribe to? Let's just say, okay, you subscribe to all this stuff. Well, now you got to digest it. So how are you going to digest that stuff? Well, what I do is I have a schedule. It's an appointment in my calendar. I spend an hour every single morning. I get up early. I spend an hour every single morning reading out of a book. Okay, my books are, hey, you know what? This is the goal I'm going after. This is the skill set I need to develop. And I pick a book relative to that skill set. And then as far as magazines and articles, I subscribe to a bunch of stuff, and I keep a folder in my email called Great Articles. And I drag and drop interesting articles that I get throughout the week into that folder. And then for me, what I do is I set aside 2 hours on a Saturday with a cup of coffee, and I go through the different articles. And I'm skimming through it to find relevant information. And that's just one of the things that I do to stay current. What I have found by setting up that system is I save myself about 10 hours a week from being distracted. How many of you have been sitting there doing your work, and all of a sudden an email comes in, and the headline captures your attention? You're like, oh, wow, that looks interesting. And then you go and you read the email, and you read all the way down, and oh my God, you got to click on this, and so you click on that, and it takes you out to their website, and there's some more content for you to read, and then you get down, and you're like, oh my God, this is the greatest thing since sliced bread. I gotta subscribe to this, and so you subscribe to the webinar that they're promoting, or whatever event that they're promoting, or product or whatever, and then by the time you're done with that whole process, 15 to 30 minutes has passed. Has that happened to anybody besides me? Okay. We get hammered constantly with new information. We get hammered constantly with new content. The key is how do you stay current and be productive? Now, if you're in town, if you're in the Sacramento region, I'm going to be doing a talk Thursday morning at the Rockland Chamber of Commerce, their breakfast. I'm going to be talking about time management. I'm going to be talking about how to manage priorities, how to stay current, that sort of thing. So if you want to see me live, come there and check that out. Go to rocklandchamberofcommerce.com and register for it, because it always sells out. So, but those are some of the things that I do to stay current. Those are some of the things that you might be able to do to stay current. I am more focused on staying current with my existing clients than I am with the world. Okay, because my clients are going to tell me what they need. The media is all agenda driven. Okay, and so that's why I'm very limited on what I do there. Now, that's just me. You do what you want to do. That's what I do. Okay, but I'm going to tell you, the people that are the most successful entrepreneurs on this planet, they don't waste time. Another thing is to engage in social media, and the social media that makes sense for you. So on Facebook, I've been running a Facebook strategy for a couple of years, and we're going to be branching more and more into LinkedIn going forward, because LinkedIn is a big-time area that has a lot of my prospects. So have a system for engaging in social media. It's like I had a client of mine yesterday, and she's one of the top document management providers in that I know of. I mean, she's just unbelievably talented in the area of systemizing a company as far as their document management is concerned. And we're coming up with different strategies for her to gain more clients. And one of the strategies that we're running right now is a LinkedIn strategy, and helping people stay current. So what she does is she has a bunch of existing clients. She has a bunch of past clients. She's done seminars. She's done workshops. She's done all of that stuff. And we're going to survey those people. And once we get the results of the survey back, then all we're going to do is create content that we're going to post into those social networks. And get into conversations with those people about what's in those social networks. And by posting relevant content in those social networks, responding to the content, getting engaged with the prospects that are there, the other people that are there, she's going to start becoming more and more relevant because her information is current. So if you get one thing out of this entire call, and that is this: survey, survey, survey. The best way to stay current is to survey your existing clients. The next way is to subscribe to different publications and articles, subscribe to your competitors' stuff. Because the competitors I subscribe to are big. They're huge. They're massive. And they have entire teams that do research. And so when you're a small business owner, you don't have the budget for something like that or the time. That's a way you can stay current without having to sift through a ton of stuff to determine what's current for you. So you can join industry associations. It's another way to stay current. Take advantage of all the training that's out there. Agencies such as Bureau of Economic Analysis, Census Bureau, National Bureau of Economic Research, they all report industry data and statistics. Where do you think I got the statistic about small business owners? 51% of them not making more than $26,000 a year. Okay? It's from the Census Bureau. And so there's all kinds of free resources out there. So let's talk about the next step. First of all, does anybody have any questions about what we just talked about? So if you do, just press *6, and that will bring you on the line. *6 will bring you on the line. Anybody got any questions, feedback, or comments about what we just talked about? And make sure you check your mute button. Okay. All right, so let's move on. So the next thing we're going to talk about is letting go of processes and or procedures that are not working. This is one of the other things that's in our surveys that we discovered most small business owners a big challenge. It's like, how do I evaluate what's working and what's not working without taking too much time away from being productive? And the best way that I can explain how to do this is just to explain what I do. And that is once a quarter, I sit down and I do what's called a baseline strategy on my business. And everybody's got a baseline in terms of the results that they're producing. So let's just say we were looking at our business and we were going to measure revenue. Just say that's what we wanted to measure is revenue. And let's just say your business does $10,000 a month in revenue. So $10,000 would be the baseline. What's also included in that baseline is all the processes, all the procedures, every single thing that you did over the course of that month or that quarter to earn the $10,000. Phone calls you made, the marketing that you did, the events that you attended, it's everything. And the most important thing is to get detailed about it. So if you want to know if a networking event has worked for you, then what you got to do is go, okay, did the networking event work for me? Well, okay, I went there and there were 40 people. How many leads did I get? How many business cards did I collect? How many people actually wanted to give me their business card and have me contact them? And the number is what the number is. So let's just say you went there and there were 40, 50 people there, and you came back with 5 to 10 business cards. Well, you've got to ask yourself, is that successful for you? It depends. If you went and collect 5 business cards and you don't do anything with those 5 business cards, then probably not a good use of your time because you spent an hour and a half at the networking event, you drove there, you paid a fee, and not to mention the cost of your time. Okay? So when I'm doing a baseline strategy, I'm laser focused. What's working? What's not working? Yeah. And so I'm going through that right now as I'm looking at, I have subscribed to so many different processes and systems and online systems and online subscriptions that I'm like, I've lost track of all the stuff that I'm using. So I went and canceled the credit card, actually the debit card that I used to pay for all that, ordered up a new debit card, and then just sat back and waited. And sure enough, I started getting all these emails going, hey, card declined. Do you have a new card? And I have to ask myself, okay, this system, is it working for me? Okay? So I'll give you an example. One of the systems I use is MailChimp. It cost me $50 a month. And got an email the other day because I had changed cards, and I haven't given them the new card because I wanted to figure out who I was subscribed to. And they sent me an email. And so I'm sitting back and going, okay, is MailChimp working for me? So let me see. I'm investing $50. It's not a lot of money, but I expect a 5 to 10 times return on the $50. So am I using it? Am I using MailChimp? Am I running campaigns? And so what I'm actually going to do later on this afternoon is I'm going to hop into MailChimp. I'm going to look at all the campaigns that I've done over the last 3 months. I'm going to look at the results from those campaigns. I'm going to decide, is MailChimp working for me, or am I not working it, or is it not working? So before I go and renew that card on there, I'm going to evaluate whether it's working or not. Because here's the deal. It's not about the $50. It's about the time distraction, about the result. It's about the return. Is there another way that I can do this more efficiently? I'm migrating everything from MailChimp to Infusionsoft, so now I got the double billing. And what I'm probably going to end up doing is putting a deadline on getting rid of MailChimp because I really need to get everything migrated over to Infusionsoft. Okay, that's just an example of how I would deal with a process or a procedure. Okay, so did I survey? Okay, how did I survey this last quarter? Did that work? What's my bookkeeping process? Is it working? So when I look at a baseline, I'm looking, okay, it comes down to revenue. We're all in business. Either the revenue is growing or it's not. So what you have to do is you have to look at it and go, okay, where was I at this time last year? How much money did I make this time last year? How much money did I make today or this year at this time? What am I doing to make that revenue? What are the appointments that I ran, the contacts, the processes, the procedure? I evaluate it all. And if it's not working, I got to ask myself two things. Number one, can I modify it or improve it? Or can I eliminate it? If I can eliminate it, I'm eliminating it. If the choice is, if I say, okay, can I modify or improve it, and the answer is yes, and then the very next question is, can I eliminate it, and I answer yes, I'm most likely going to eliminate it. I'm not going to waste any time on improving it and making it better, because the less complicated I can have my business, the more profitable I can be. See, the more systems and processes and procedures that you have in place, not necessarily is a good thing. Does it translate to better customer service? Does it translate to helping you achieve your mission? Does it help you generate the revenue you're looking for or not? It's as simple as that. Sometimes we hold on to things that are not working far too long because we're just sure I'm going to give it one more shot. And so if that's you and you struggle with that, do yourself a favor. Give yourself a deadline. Like I bought Infusionsoft back in July. Well, I've been paying for Infusionsoft and MailChimp for July, August, September, October, November, getting ready to be November. I'm like, you know what? The insanity's got to stop. I'm either going to go with Infusionsoft or stay with MailChimp. But I'm giving myself a deadline of November 30th to part ways with one of the two. And that's the bottom line, because I cannot continue to go down that road and pay that. Now, that's just from a sheer productivity standpoint. Another thing is processes and procedures. Let's just say you have employees. How productive are your employees? Is what you're doing, is the process that you have in place helping your employees be productive? Do you have a process or procedure in place that measures productivity? See, a lot of times we hire an employee, we spend all this money to train them, all this time and energy and effort, and we don't have a process or a procedure in place to measure whether they're performing or not. What determines if your employee performs well? Well, here's what it determines. If you hire an employee, you should be able to see an increase of 2.5 times their loaded payroll in terms of additional gross margin. Okay? In at least a 3 to 6 month period of time. If you don't see that, then you got to evaluate the processes and the procedures and how they've been trained and what they actually do. They should help you be more productive. Truth be told, as an owner, there's really only 1 to 3 things that you need to be doing in your business. Now, when you're first starting out and you're under $100,000, you're going to do it all. But your goal is to build your revenue as quickly as freaking possible so you can outsource all the stuff that you shouldn't be doing. And by taking time out every month, taking time out once a quarter, and running baseline strategy like I just taught you, is going to help you make decisions in your business. Like I made a decision in July that I'm going to hire a full-time administrative assistant. I'm going to hire a sales support person. I'm going to hire a PR person. I've gone through 3 different assistants to finally find Ashley, who has turned out to be one of the best assistants that I've ever had. Okay? And the longer her and I work together, the more productive she's going to be, the more I'm going to be able to take off my plate and put onto hers. And I've been able to take a boatload of stuff off my plate and put it onto hers. Now I got to take that time and put it on the stuff that I'm good at. So How do you know what processes and procedures to implement in your business? How do you know what to measure? How do you know what to get rid of and what to keep? Here's the question. Are you the one that is having to implement and manage the process or procedure? And if so, what I would recommend is getting your revenues up as quickly as possible, hiring that administrative support person to take that off your plate. Think about how much more revenue you could create if you were left to do the 1 to 3 things that you are absolutely great at, that you absolutely love, and that's all you had to do with your time. And you had phenomenal support in the back end to help you with all the other stuff. How much more revenue would you be able to create? How much more change and impact would you be able to have with your existing customers and your future customers? How much more of an enjoyable business you would have? Think about that. So to kind of bring it home is run baseline strategy every month. Run baseline strategy in a bigger way every quarter. Take a full day once a year, 1 to 2 days once a year to run baseline strategy for the whole year. And if you do this consistently, so here's the system. Once a month, and it's the last day of every month, I will take 1 to 2 hours. It's literally an appointment in my calendar. I will take 1 to 2 hours, and I'll do a baseline strategy on the month that just ended. And I'm looking at processes. I'm looking at procedures of what worked, what didn't work. Did I get the stuff done I needed to get done? How did I create that revenue? And I make small changes on a 30-day basis. I don't want to make big changes. Okay? Very rarely do I adjust a strategy on a monthly basis. It's usually the action plans. And then once a quarter, I carve out a full half day. I literally will take off to Napa sometimes or wherever, and I get away and I focus on my business. I take my numbers with me, and I'm focused on, okay, the entire 3 months, what did I get accomplished? What did my business do? How much revenue did we create? What was our cost of goods sold? What was our SG&A expenses, our sales, general business expenses, and administrative expenses? What was my net profit? Okay? How did I get that? Did we grow? Where were we at this time last year? Are we growing? Are we changing? Are we making a difference? Is the marketing strategies I'm using, is it working? What's been my return on that? The networking events that I attended, did they work? The speaking engagements that I did they work? What was my return on those things? And then I lay out, the only time I change strategies is once a quarter. Okay, what strategies am I going to bring into the next quarter that are going to give me a similar result? And then what I'm looking for is, what is 1 to 2 things I can add to my baseline that will give me a better result? So I take what's working and I continue to do what's working, and then I ask myself, okay, what is 1 or 2 new strategies or processes or procedures that I can implement that if I do implement will give me a better result? And then I lay out my game plan and I go to work. And then once a year, typically it's the last week of the year after Christmas for me, I will take anywhere from 1 to 2 days. Okay, last year it was 3 days, and I go down, I'll pack my car, I'll go down to Big Sur. There's a specific cabin that I found where there's no cell coverage, there's no internet coverage, there's no TV, there's nothing. It's just a full 2 days of just deep immersion into what worked in 2016, what didn't work. What did I like about 2016, what I didn't like? What was my annual number? Did I grow? What do I want to repeat? What do I not want to repeat? Where do I want to be December 31st, 2017? I do my annual baseline, my annual planning. Okay? And that's how you maintain control of your processes and your procedures without going nuts. But I'm going to tell you, man, there are a lot of you that you're hesitant on getting help. And you're stuck in your business right now because you're the one that has to do it all. And I want to encourage you, go out and get a book. It's by Michael Gerber. And it's called The E-Myth Revisited. The E-Myth Revisited. Read that book, and that'll change your mind about what you're doing. Because until you get the right support and right help, you're the one having to implement all these processes and procedures. And you're not going to be anywhere near as effective as you would be if you hired the right talent. So any questions about what I've just talked about? Because we're almost out of time, so I got time to take any questions. If you want to talk about a specific business challenge that you have, I'll give you some coaching. *6 will bring you live on the call. And make sure you check the mute button on your phone so you're not muted. But *6 will bring you live on the call. Let me just make sure that I got this set up correctly. Okay, so now I have it set up right. So if you press *6, you can come on the live call. Anybody have any questions, feedback, any other challenges that we didn't discuss in this series that you would like feedback on? *6 will bring you live on the call. Going once, going twice, and sold. Okay. All right, so we're going to wrap up today's call, but check this out. Next week, Joe Van Greenleaf, definitely a call you're going to want to listen to, either on the live call or in person. I'd highly recommend being on the live call so you can ask some very specific tax questions. She is a tax expert for business owners, okay, and that's very important to know the difference. She only focuses on business owners. So you want to be on that live call next week and ask any tax questions that you have, and we'll see you next week. Go out and make it great. Take care.